Exclusive contract novel from Feilu Fiction Network. NBA. Fusion of superdimensional talent at the beginning. Jiang Heng traveled through 2010 and was a teammate with Paul George at the University of Fresno. Along with the crossing, Jiang Heng obtained a terrifying system that integrated the physical fitness of the mythological figure of the vast and desolate world, the spirit god, at the beginning. The mythological figure, the giant spirit god, with a superdimensional body, power, speed, bounce, burst, endurance, will be fully tapped. It can be said that Jiang Heng gained the physical condition to crush everything at the beginning. With more and more rewards, such as psychedelic dance moves, supernatural hooks, golden rooster independence, lying flat and leaning back, etc., when a player accumulates anti-sky skills. The most terrifying wild beast in history, breaking free from its cage. Crushing the basketball industry and achieving NBA mythology. O'Neal. Don't compare me to Jiang anymore. If we were born in the same era, he would be my template. James. This guy shouldn't be on the field, he should go save the earth. Howard. MyFeilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. 001 begins with the fusion of mythological characters and giant spirits. New. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Push 240 kilograms horizontally. OMG. Jiang, your physical talent is simply a monster. In the gym of Fresno State University, a young Asian is doing a bench press exercise. The 240-kilogram barbell was easily pushed by this young man, as if it were inflatable. This scene shocked a black player standing next to him. He is the star player of the Fresno State University basketball team, Paul George. At this time, Paul George, who was in his sophomore year, was going to fight for the NCAA in his final year of college. Compared to him who will be active on the NBA field in the future, George is still a bit childish now. This year, George averaged 16.8 points, 7.2 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2.2 steals per game. With such explosive performance, George is now a superstar at Fresno State University. In front of Paul George, Jiang Heng was a Chinese exchange student who had just arrived at this university. Two people happened to become roommates. Not long after getting to know each other, Paul George discovered Jiang Heng's strong basketball talent. Paul George, who was eager to find a reliable teammate and strive for better results for Fresno State University in the final year to win the NCAA championship, immediately paid attention to Jiang Heng. Paul George took the initiative to contact Jiang Heng and unexpectedly discovered that Jiang Heng, like himself, had a heart that loved hot and beautiful women. However, Jiang Heng likes the normal aesthetic of a popular celebrity, while Paul George is more eccentric and only loves black girls with big PGs. Between the two, it can be said that there is no offense. Under the common interest, the two quickly became good friends. And Paul George even had the idea of recruiting Jiang Heng to join the Fresno State University basketball team. At this moment, Jiang Heng finished a set of push-ups and came down to say, "My warm-up is over, Paul, help me add 10 kilograms on both sides." WTF. The warm-up is over. Jiang, what did you say about Nima? Did your lie down just warm up? Paul George, who was thinking, was stunned. Jiang Heng's previous push test result, even in the entire Fresno State University, couldn't find a second one. No. It should be said that in full meters. Even globally, Jiang Heng is an extremely rare monster. According to Paul George's understanding, the best player in NBA history in bench press was the former postman Karl Malone. Karl Malone's bench press performance that year reached 230 kilograms. This achievement is already extremely astonishing. And Jiang Heng is already 10 kilograms taller than Karl Malone. Even so, for Jiang Heng, 240 kilograms is only a warm-up level, and even if we continue to increase, it is far from reaching the limit. This is far from Paul George's impression of a thin and weak Chinese student. Thinking about the upcoming trial, Paul George quickly said, "Jiang, take a break first. I have already recommended you to the coach. Please save some energy, otherwise you will suffer if you don't have the energy to test when the coach arrives." Jiang Heng shook his head indifferently. "No energy. I feel like there's an endless amount of physical energy available now." Jiang Heng installed two 10-kilogram tablets and continued his physical training. And there was also some green Paul George beside him, who could only look at Jiang Heng as if he were looking at a monster. In fact, only Jiang Heng knows his secret. He is a traveler. Subconsciously, he was playing with a big fitness coach on the field, but suddenly, he traveled back to 2010. And became an exchange student at Fresno State University, Paul George's roommate. As a traveler, of course, golden fingers are indispensable. However, what Jiang Heng didn't expect was the system that awakens oneself is actually about basketball. And what made Jiang Heng very confused was unexpectedly, at the beginning of the game, the system integrated the physical fitness of celestial mythological characters and giant spirit gods. I didn't hear you wrong, it's just a giant spirit god. That omnipotent, earth-shattering mythological figure. Of course, the system will not bring real trolls to the stadium. The fusion of the giant spirit god, whose physical fitness is just a fan version, cannot really transport the guy who stomps his feet and shakes the earth. But even so, Jiang Heng's physical fitness has also reached the level of President Mountain in history. Jiang Heng called up the system panel in his brain. Host. Jiang Heng, we are integrating the physical fitness of the mythological character, the giant spirit god, with a current fusion progress of 90%, task completed. Formally become a member of Fresno State University's basketball team, successful task, rewards 100% fusion progress. As long as Jiang Heng officially joins the Fresno State University team, he will be able to inherit 100% of the same physical fitness as the mythological figure, the giant spirit god. That's a bug-like physical fitness in Chinese mythology. Even though Jiang Heng has only fused 90% now, it is enough for him to show off his monster-like physical talent. Jiang Heng felt that with his current physical fitness, even the peak shark could not take advantage of him. And the physical fitness after 100% integration is what Jiang Heng hopes for. What kind of effect will it have? So, Jiang Heng is currently waiting for the trial training of the Fresno State University basketball team. However, Jiang Heng has no worries about this at all. After all, Jiang Heng now has complete confidence in dominating the NBA field, let alone a Fresno State University basketball team. And Paul George next to him looked even more nervous than Jiang Heng. This is the candidate he personally recommended to the coach. What if Jiang Heng pulled his hips during the trial training due to excessive training and insufficient physical strength? Just then, a group of people walked in. Except for the person holding the tactical board at the front, everyone else is wearing Fresno State University jerseys. Paul George quickly patted Jiang Heng's shoulder and said, "That's the head coach of our college basketball team, Hendricks." At the same time, Henkels was also examining Jiang Heng with his gaze. Just a glance, a stunning expression appeared in Henkels' eyes. Jiang Heng's height, according to Hendricks's rough estimate, is definitely over 215 centimeters. Even the center forwards at Fresno State University today are not as high as Jiang Hengao. This reminds Hendricks of the Chinese center, Yao, on the NBA field. Moreover, Jiang Heng's physique was not the thin Asian appearance that Henkels had anticipated. Jiang Heng's burly figure was something that Henkels, who had been teaching in university for many years, had never seen before. The explosive arm circumference, the thick buttocks and legs. It's like a finely carved axe, emitting a wild flavor. Under that muscle, there seems to be infinite power hidden. Just at this glance, Henkels realized that this Chinese student had astonishing basketball talent. Henkels understood a bit why Paul George, who always had his pride, would strongly recommend this exchange student from China to join their basketball team. Even also saying that this Chinese student may affect their grades this year. 002 Horror physical test stunned the whole audience, 1. On point 1 testing. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Behind Henkel's, a group of Fresno State University basketball players were all stunned when they saw Jiang Heng. Jiang Heng stood there, like a giant, full of pressure. Is this big guy actually a student from the Heavenly Dynasty? Is it really fake? He looks even more robust than Yao. Are all the players from China so strong in development? OMG. I dare say, he's much more ferocious than Meggy. The basketball team couldn't help but exclaim in amazement. And the center forward within the team, a spatial tall man, Sean Medjury, even swallowed his saliva. This young man from the Heavenly Dynasty has a very strong physique. If he joins the team, he won't really be pushed onto the bench, will he? I just don't know, with a physique even taller than myself, how skilled I really am when playing. There was an extra hint of hostility in the eyes of Medjury looking at Jiang Heng. After all, this is the person who wants to compete with him for a starting position. Jiang, I've heard George talk about everything about you. At this moment, Henkels also spoke to Jiang Heng and said, a newcomer with potential like you is worth our individual trial. Let's conduct a physical test first. Jiang Heng nodded, and the physical examination was completely stress-free for him now. Henkels' assistant walked in with a small notebook, and everyone's attention was focused on Jiang Heng. They all want to know how much power is hidden beneath Jiang Heng's strong physique on the surface. Due to the fact that only Jiang Heng was conducting the physical examination, the speed was very fast. Firstly, it is a regular static volume measurement. Jiang Heng's height. 2.16 meters weight. 120 kilograms arm span. 2.33 meters palm length. 28.8 centimeters standing and touching height. 290 meters. Generally speaking, static body measurements cannot reveal anything. But Jiang Heng's static body measurement data still surprised everyone immensely. This static talent has surpassed all the players at Fresno State University. Even in NCAA, there are not many people who can compare with Jiang. Based solely on these conditions, I think Jiang is qualified to join our basketball team. The college basketball team members are straightforward and say whatever comes to mind. However, facing competition from Jiang Heng for the position, Sean Medjury's face became increasingly ugly as he listened. The physical examination was not over yet, and in the eyes of his teammates, his position was occupied by Jiang Heng. This made Medjury feel a bit indignant in his heart. Besides physical condition, basketball skills are also very important. He believes that his basketball skills can definitely crush Jiang Heng. No matter what the basketball team thinks, the dynamic physical examination will be conducted afterwards. Jiang Heng's physical examination results were quickly compiled by his assistant into the hands of Henkels. Henkels' eyes contracted sharply as he looked at his transcript. Jump 110 centimeters in place. Run up and bounce 133 centimeters. 100-meter sprint in 10 seconds and 36 seconds. The fastest bottom line turnaround run is 12 seconds and 11 seconds. The maximum weight of the horizontal push is 270 kilograms. Every time he looks at a piece of data, Hendrix's heart beats faster by 1 point. When I saw the final push result, I felt a suffocation in my breath. Where is basketball talent outstanding? What a monster born for basketball. In terms of bounce and speed, Jiang Heng's performance is even faster than their team's point guard. In terms of bench press, Jiang Heng has refreshed Henkel's basketball cognition. Is there a basketball player who can reach a weight of 270 kilograms in bench press? Henkels searched his mind but couldn't find it. That is to say, Jiang Heng is currently the best performing basketball player in the world in bench press. After testing these, Jiang Heng just relaxed his muscles and bones beside him. The test just now was very easy for him and he didn't feel any difficulty. The other players, on the other hand, quietly watched the transcript in Henkel's hand. Henkel's was in a state of shock, but it was only after the assistant coach coughed that he regained consciousness. Jiang Heng's physical measurement data is very impressive. As Henkel's announced one by one, the basketball players also caused a sensation. What? The Fu #K. No way, it seems that every one of them has surpassed us. Jiang Heng's physical talent has surpassed the NCAA level, and the NBA is also a top-tier presence. God! With such talent, I feel unworthy of playing basketball. Under the radiance of Jiang Heng, these members of the university basketball team felt ashamed. Even Paul George, who was well prepared, looked at Jiang Heng with shock. Jiang, how can you still reach a weight of 270 kilograms with your bench press? This is 20 kilograms more than what he just saw. What I just tried, I actually don't know how many kilograms I can push. Jiang Heng smiled faintly. George was speechless in an instant. According to Jiang Heng's meaning, isn't this his limit? George turned around and proudly asked head coach Henkel's, how's it going? Is Jiang qualified to join our team? Such physical testing data would definitely surpass any NCAA team. He felt that Henkel's must have agreed. Henkel's pondered for a moment before speaking. Don't worry, we still need to see how Jiang's football skills are. George and the surrounding team members also nodded. The physical testing data is already explosive enough, but of course basketball is not a purely natural sport, and technology is equally important. Hendrix's gaze swept over the center player and eventually settled on Megri. Jiang. Would you be willing to have a 1-on-1 match with Sean Majory? Sure. Jiang Heng stood calmly in place without showing any panic. I can do any number of pairs. Any number of pairs is fine. Jiang Heng's arrogance also made Majory eager to try. He had long wanted to have a real fight with Jiang Heng and blocked the hurtful comments from his teammates. Everyone arrived at the basketball court of Fresno State University, with Jiang Heng and Majory standing on the field, while others stood by the sidelines to watch. Majory is wearing a jersey from Fresno State University, while Jiang Heng is wearing a regular black jersey he bought. The good teammates around are all discussing it one after another. Although Jiang's talent is very strong, Sean has played for so long and his rich experience cannot be compared to Jiang's. That's right, Jiang will definitely suffer now. You're wrong, I feel like Jiang will definitely beat up Meggy. Most of the teammates are more optimistic about Meggy. After all, talent is at the top level, and before it can be transformed into football skills, it has no value. And Majory is a solid NCAA spatial center, having played against various NCAA centers. Of course, there are also a few people who are optimistic about Jiang Heng, including George. Coach Henkel said seriously to assistant coach Ronnie Jr., take note of what happened later and I feel that Jiang will be the hope of our team. The assistant coach felt the importance that Henkel's attached and was extremely shocked. Originally, Henkel's did not immediately agree to Jiang Heng joining the team in order to better understand him. During the conversation, the bullfight had already begun. 003 is like Ultraman hitting a little monster, new book. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Is it just that the usually steady Henkel's sees a newcomer as the hope of the team? This surprised the assistant coach a bit. Their team still has star players like Paul George, so why can't it be Jiang Heng's turn? On the field, the bullfighting between Jiang Heng and Majory officially began. Jiang Heng holds the ball and attacks first. Majory didn't dare to be careless, his center of gravity sank, his eyes fixed on Jiang Heng, and he exerted all his energy. He must defeat Jiang Heng in the most brutal way to make his teammates recognize who is Fresno's strongest center forward. Jiang Heng slowly held the ball and moved towards the inside line, with his back in the low position, leaning towards Majory. This is Jiang Heng's first practical battle since coming here. He was equally excited in his heart, finally able to test his strength after merging with the giant spirit god. Dong! Jiang leaned against Meijeri and exerted a force. Meijeri suddenly felt as if he had been hit by a locomotive, and his chest sank. He suddenly retreated backwards and sat down on the floor. The two of them had a chance to make contact, and Meijeri retreated out of the boundary. Meijeri seemed weak and the scene was very comical. As the defender disappeared, Jiang Heng's face was empty, reaching straight to the bottom of the basket. He grabbed the ball with both hands, lifted it up, and the beast dunked it. Bang! The burst of strength in both arms makes the basket make a huge noise. This dunk is like a wild beast coming out of the cage. 1-0 Everyone was surprised to see that Meijeri couldn't even obstruct Jiang Heng. WOC. What happened just now? Why did Sean fly all of a sudden? Roar, I haven't seen Sean so embarrassed before. How strong was Jiang just now? My God. I dare say, Jiang is definitely an insider beast, he will rule the insider. Easy to break through Meggy, beast slam. It feels like Ultraman hitting a little monster. Jiang Heng's performance in actual combat is more impactful than the icy data during physical testing. Brother. And Jiang Heng jumped off the basket and spoke to Meijeri, who was sitting half on the floor. You don't have to let me go. Let you. WTF. Meggy almost didn't spit out when he heard it. But seeing Jiang Heng's serious gaze, he couldn't help but hold it back. I can only think inwardly, I didn't let you. He exerted all his strength, but was suddenly knocked off by Jiang Heng and even subjected to Jiang Heng's ridicule, which made him feel helpless. However, Jiang Heng was not aware of these. He didn't really exert all his strength just now, that's why he felt like Meggy was making him. In Jiang Heng's view, he just touched Meggy, it's impossible for him to just bump open. Even Jiang Heng has no practical concept of his current strength. Even with such a gentle force, NCAA non-power centers like Meguri would be instantly kicked out. Integrating the physical fitness of the invincible spirit god, in terms of strength, even if Aopong comes, he is completely fearless. If Peak O'Neill comes to NCAA, it's like a shark entering a small fish pond. As for Jiang Heng, it's like a killer whale exploding a fish tank. Exchange ball rights. Replace it with Meijeri's attack and Jiang Heng's defense. Teammate on the sidelines, look forward to it again. After all, the guy who really eats for Meijeri is not defensive, but agile offensive. Although the scene just now was shocking, there is still room for Meijeri to come back. After suffering losses just now, Meijeri dare not continue to confront Jiang Heng head-on. Fortunately, he is a spatial center and his technical skills are much more delicate than other clumsy big men in the NCAA. At the position of the penalty line, Meijeri began to take a probing step, his feint, which did seem a bit realistic. Swinging left and right, Meijeri took 2 big steps and ran to the basket, but Jiang Heng immediately came back to defend. Jiang Heng's speed made Meijeri feel a little uneasy, so he quickly threw it. He has a great feel, and with this throw, Meijeri is full of confidence. Even his teammates couldn't help but marvel. Maggie's attack was okay, he easily found an opportunity to attack. Jiang is indeed a newcomer. Sean used his attacking skills to score a goal this time. Jiang's performance is already good enough. After training, Jiang's future is limitless. As they praised, a black shadow flew up in an instant, completely covering up Meijeri. Jiang Heng extended his hand, and his terrifying arm spread made him start from behind and hit the basketball hard with one hand. Pang! This throw was thrown directly by Jiang Hengfan. Moreover, the trajectory of basketball flight surprisingly flew directly over the midline. Oh, everyone stared at me again. Take a deep breath. Jiang Heng's defense speed, instant bouncing, and the strength of blocking. Is this really achieved by a tall man of 2.16 meters? Defenders don't have such flexible reaction speed, do they? Just now, I thought Meggy was going to retrieve a ball, but I didn't expect Jiang Heng to fly the ball in such a brutal way. Myjeri also froze under the basket, looking as if he had been hit hard and doubted his life. His ability to excel in NCAA was mercilessly criticized by a newcomer. The whole field was silent, except for the sound of a basketball bouncing to the other side and hitting the floor. After a while, the stunned Henkels slowly spoke up. In the face of top talents, there is no room to unleash skills that have not been honed to the pinnacle. Henkels narrowed his eyes slightly. In his heart, he has elevated Jiang Heng's status to several levels. No one knows, in Henkels' heart, he already valued Jiang Heng more than George. George is just a stable external firepower. And Jiang Heng is the existence that can support a team. The coach is right. One attack and one defense, it's all Jiang crushing Sean. Coach's point is, has Jiang's talent reached the top level of NCAA? No, I think the coach should be saying that Jiang's talent has reached the level of reaching full NBA level. Paul George also looked at Jiang Heng eagerly. As a star of the NCAA, he can feel that Jiang Heng, like him, has the potential to enter the NBA. NBA. The expressions of the players around have changed a few times, which is the dream place of all basketball players. Even among them, few are qualified to play in the NBA. And now, newcomer Jiang Heng, who has just started his trial, has actually been recognized by Paul George and has the potential to enter the NBA. This made all these players who were destined to have no chance with the NBA in their lifetime feel sour in their hearts. But even if they subconsciously want to refute, they can't find any problems. Jiang Heng's talent does seem to be above the level of the NBA. 004 burst rebounds. Isn't this even stronger than Ouchubby? You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next ball, as soon as he saw Jiang Heng holding the ball, Myjeri felt a lot of pressure. Even the teammates on the sidelines began to have a negative outlook on Major. Can Jiang Heng still crush this ball? Hey, as long as Myjeri can defend the next goal, he's considered qualified. Jiang is like a brutal bulldozer, anything blocking him will be pushed out horizontally. Jiang Heng began to launch and charged towards Myjeri step by step. Every step felt as if stepping on Meggy's heartbeat, and the distance between the two became closer and closer. With the power of Jiang Heng's propulsion, it seemed as if he had already seen the scene of himself being knocked away again. He instinctively dodged to the side and gave up the basket behind him. Everyone in the stadium was stunned when they saw this scene. Even Jiang Heng was taken aback for a moment before continuing to charge into the basket, making a powerful dunk and winning again. Meanwhile, Myjeri was just watching from the sidelines, unable to muster the courage to defend Jiang Heng. The teammates on the sidelines are a bit embarrassed to watch. Although Jiang plays basketball very cruelly, you can't just avoid it, can you? Hey buddy, don't stand and talk without hurting your back. How dare you guard against it? Forget it. I think we should let Jiang Heng be our starting center forward. Sean was completely overwhelmed by Jiang. Upon hearing his teammates' words, Meggy realized what he had just done. He actually dodged in fear. Do this in front of all teammates. Meggy's whole face turned red, almost spitting out a mouthful of old blood. At this moment, Jiang Heng walked over and added a spark. I've already told you not to let me go. Major was greatly stimulated, and veins sprouted from his forehead. I really didn't let you. Baby's heart is bitter. The attack and defense changed, and Myjeri attacked again. This relieved him, at least he didn't have to face Jiang Heng's terrifying bulldozer breakthrough. Myjeri took a step into the penalty line and looked at Jiang Heng, who was waiting, suddenly feeling a chill in his back. Looking back on Jiang Heng's big hat just now, I really chose to float outside and throw it. With this in mind, Myjeri bent his knees and took off, pitching one step away from Jiang Heng. The basketball shot, and Jiang Heng pounced again. The distance between the two has given the ball enough time to rise. When Jiang Heng jumped up, the ball had already risen to a very high position. Myjeri couldn't help but swallow his saliva. Although he rationally believed that Jiang Heng could not catch the ball again, he couldn't help but feel scared. Jiang Heng people are in the air, rising higher and higher. With both hands outstretched and terrifying arm movements, I finally reached the height of basketball. Ping! Jiang Heng slammed down with force, as if playing volleyball, and once again slammed Megari's shot hard. Seeing this scene, Meggy's face instantly turned pale. The image of Jiang Heng wearing a big hat was deeply engraved in his mind. If he were to face Jiang Heng again in the future, it would be difficult for Myjeri to muster the courage to attack. The teammates from Fresno State University took a deep breath together. Oh my God, how high was that ball just now? How could Jiang possibly hit it? How could such a terrifying bounce appear on a center forward? Just looking at it, I'm suffocating. Who dares to advance on the river? Our team is going to have a super tough guy. The young people on the basketball team are highly recognized for their strength. As long as your strength is strong enough, they will worship you. Jiang Heng's crushing strength was recognized by them. Meanwhile, Meggy completely lost the support of his teammates. A center forward who actively avoids the opponent's attack is destined to not receive support from others. In the following time, Jiang Heng scored 4 goals in a row, while Myjeri still struggled to swallow 0 eggs. His attack was completely blocked by the crossbar. In front of Jiang Heng, Myjeri's physical hardware was as weak as his name. Sheep shone through the repeated failures of Megari. The members of the basketball team gradually became accustomed to Jiang Heng's explosive playing style. Jiang Heng picked up the ball again and said to Myjeri, "Dude, this is the last ball, I won't let you." After speaking, before Myjeri could react, Jiang Heng launched an attack directly. 2 big steps rushed inside Myjeri and violently bumped into him. Taking a small jump within the free throw line is something that Jiang Heng has never tried before, but he vaguely feels that he can do after integrating the physical fitness of 90% invincible spirit gods. Jiang Heng grabs the ball with both hands, spins 180 degrees in the air, jumps over the distance of the penalty line, and folds his back buckle. Bang sung. A loud bang. Swivel 180 in the air from the free throw line, fold back buckle. At a height of 2.16 meters, there is no clumsy feeling in the entire movement, full of violent aesthetics. Click. After Jiang Heng dunked the ball into the basket with his back, his hands exerted force, and the injected force unexpectedly shattered the rebound. The rebounds first cracked, then immediately turned into snowflakes and fell to the floor. Jiang Heng smashed the rebound with just 1 dunk. This is the highest standard basketball frame, no different from NBA's. Jiang Heng's ability to break this rebound also represents the ability to break NBA rebounds as well. Everyone's chin was about to fall off, and no one could have imagined that such a thing would happen on the last ball. Myjeri, who was knocked away, trembled and quickly dodged. Jiang Heng, who broke the rebounds, was completely labeled as irreconcilable by him. After staring blankly for a few seconds, the other teammates on the basketball team erupted into a frenzy. Oh my God! Lying down. Breaking the rebound, are you joking with me? That's amazing. He will definitely become the shark of NCAA, OFAT. With Jiang in, our inner line will be the strongest inner line of NCAA. Breaking the basket, I've never seen such a brutal center before. The one standing in front of you now is definitely the NCAA's first center forward. Even Paul George had a deep shock in his eyes. He suddenly realized that his brother might be even more powerful than him in the future. In the depths of head coach Hendrix's eyes, great anticipation ignited. He felt that the NCAA championship this year may not be that far away. Perhaps this time, Fresno State University will usher in the most glorious year in its history. Jiang Heng patted the glass residue on his body and scratched his head with embarrassment. Sorry, I didn't mean to break it, shouldn't I have to compensate? Jiang Heng promised that he was just trying to see if he could perform a difficult dunk just now. I didn't expect to break the rebound when my strength increased a bit. God knows why the rebounds in this arena are so fragile, and Jiang Heng suspects that they may be defective. Ha ha ha. Henkels laughed a few times. It's okay, of course you don't have to pay. You don't have to pay for the rebounds you broke here. Jiang Heng continued to ask. Can I join the Fresno State University basketball team now? P.S. The new book sets sail, and the supernatural beast breaks through the dragon. Kneeling for flowers, evaluating tickets, and giving rewards, thank you all. 005 Dream, starting from Crazy March. New book. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 I have to admit, you are the most talented player I have ever seen in all these years, said Henkels with a smile that couldn't be concealed. Henkels can be said to be very satisfied with Jiang Heng. Jiang Heng is likely to be the player with the greatest future achievements since his coaching career. If Paul George can establish himself in the NBA, he believes that Jiang Heng can become a superstar in the NBA. Little Ronnie. Immediately, Henkels turned to his assistant coach Ronnie Jr. and said, how many scholarships do we have left for Fresno State University? Full scholarship. Little Ronnie was taken aback. There was an unwritten rule in NCAA that only players with full scholarships are eligible to play in March Madness. Coach Henkels, do you want Jiang Heng to make an appearance in Crazy March? There's only one left, Coach, said Ronnie. Activate now. Henkels had a firm gaze. And announced the name of the last spot, called Jiang Heng. Henkels had a gleam in his eyes and made a decisive decision. The basketball players on the field were all shocked in their hearts. Although they were also optimistic about Jiang Heng, they did not expect that the head coach would directly give him the spot for Crazy March. From the very beginning, I have to directly climb onto the Crazy March competition. Even Jiang, I'm afraid there will be problems, right? Our goal this year is not small, if it's due to Jiang's failure. Paul, you also advise the coach not to be so impulsive. Although the team members saw Jiang Heng's powerful talent, they still had some worries. After all, that was Crazy March, a grand event for the entire NCAA. During this period, the attention of NCAA is definitely not lower than that of NBA playoffs, and even surpasses it. Moreover, in the Crazy March game, the winner is determined, and if you lose, you have to go home to fish. At this time, changing your usual lineup will inevitably cause discomfort for the team. But Paul George smiled and said, since the coach has made the decision, I believe Jiang Heng can deliver a fatal blow to the opponent during the Crazy March. As a key star in the team, Paul George's voice is second only to that of the head coach. Seeing him say this, the other teammates have nothing to say either. Head, Crazy March is coming soon. Let Jiang Heng play directly, right? Little Ronnie hesitated for a moment and also gave a word of advice. The risk of having a newcomer who has never played before walk onto the NCAA's Crazy March court in such a short period of time is too great. They have already started training for Crazy March, and if they add Jiang Heng now, they will have to start adjusting again. The overall strength of the team is likely to decline as a result. So we need to accelerate time even more. Henkel's gaze became increasingly determined. In March, Jiang Heng will become a heavy nuclear weapon at Fresno State University. On the day Henkels decided on Jiang Heng's playing spot, he began a simple adaptability training with the basketball team. When he returned to the dormitory, Jiang Heng found Paul George looking mysteriously at the computer screen. He leaned in and found Paul George watching a small movie with an unknown name. At this moment, a middle-aged woman with a huge PG appeared on the film screen. Paul George immediately excitedly patted the table before realizing that Jiang Heng had returned. He smiled awkwardly and said, "Jiang, why didn't you come back without saying a word? It made me lose face." "What are you looking at?" Jiang Heng asked casually. George woke up and pointed to the movie on the screen excitedly, saying, "This is a movie I recently found, with many popular actresses in it. She's amazing." After listening to George's words, Jiang Heng also knew why he was so excited. Jiang Heng knew that George's hobbies in this area were completely opposite to his. If Jiang Heng likes women who lean more towards Eastern style, George prefers those with deformed figures. And even older individuals are not taboo at all, it can be said that they are a bit heavy-mouthed. Jiang Heng glanced at the actress on the screen and nodded, saying, "It really suits your taste, no wonder you're hiding here and staring at it so intently." Although he said so, Jiang Heng's expression was very plain. The actress in this movie looks like she's in her 40s or 50s, and she can be his mother at that age. Only people like George would like this taste, right? Anyway, Jiang Heng has no interest at all, and even taking an extra look feels a bit spicy. George still said passionately, "Jiang, you really understand me. This actress is so beautiful. When we enter the NBA and become wealthy and famous, I will definitely find a girlfriend like her." Because of Jiang Heng's words, George looked at him as his confidant. Jiang Heng was a bit speechless. As a traveler, he naturally knew who Paul George's future wife was. A certain nightclub stripper, of course. He can only respect his good brother George's special interests. George saw Jiang Heng's lack of interest and said, "Jiang, after this year's NCAA, I will participate in the NBA draft, which is the strongest basketball league in the world." Speaking of NBA, Jiang Heng finally became interested. The strongest league. Sooner or later, I will rule the NBA league. Jiang Heng clenched his fists. With systematic help, he now has the ambition to conquer the NBA. George opened his eyes wide and looked at his Chinese roommate in surprise. He just casually said that he didn't expect Jiang Heng to really have such lofty ambitions. "Jiang, although I believe we can all stand firm in the NBA, what you said is a bit exaggerated. The NBA brings together excellent basketball players from all over the world, and it's not an easy task to dominate the NBA." George put away his previous promiscuous expression and said seriously. In George's view, being able to establish a foothold in the NBA is already very impressive. You should know that the other players at Fresno State University do not even qualify for the NBA. As for dominating the NBA, it is almost impossible to do so. Jiang Heng shook his head and said, "Brother, I'm not saying it casually. There will always be someone who wants to rule the alliance, why not me?" Jiang Heng's body erupted in a futile momentum, as if he had stepped on everything. George was stunned for a while. Jiang Heng's words are a bit surprising. "Okay, since you have confidence, I'm looking forward to this day." In George's eyes, only Jiang Heng is qualified to stand on the same level as the entire Fresno State University. And George's future goal is also to become a superstar in the NBA. Let's start our dreams from Crazy March. George and Jiang Heng looked at each other with a smile, and then George began to watch the strange movie he found somewhere. P.S. The fifth watch has arrived, and the supernatural beast breaks through the dragon. Kneeling for flowers, evaluating tickets, and giving rewards, thank you all. Add more rules. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Let me talk about the update situation on the first day. If the number of flowers exceeds 2,000 on the first day of publication, the author will be updated 10 times directly. If the number of reviews exceeds 400, the author will continue to update 10 times the next day. During the new book period, there will be 5 updates or 10,000 word updates every day. The additional standards are as follows. For every additional 500 evaluation votes, an additional chapter will be added. For every 2,000 more flowers, add one more chapter. For every 50 more comments, an additional chapter will be added. If the total reward amount exceeds 5,000 VIP points, an additional chapter will be added. For every 5 additional rewards received, an additional chapter will be added. There are also monthly tickets. For every additional 30 monthly tickets, an additional chapter will be added. The data during the free period is too important. Bow 90 degrees, ask for flowers from the big shots, evaluate tickets, give rewards, and receive monthly tickets. These are all very important, please submit. Thank you to all the benefactors. 006 Crazy March is coming. 100% fusion of the giant spirit god. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 3 days later, the raging March war reignited. During this month, all 64 NCAA teams will be divided into the East-West zone and take turns fighting. The team ranked first in the East-West region will compete with the team ranked 32nd. After a series of single elimination matches, the division champion is determined, and then the final championship of the finals is determined. The winning team will immediately advance to the next round, while the losing team will go home to fish. The cruel and ruthless competition system is the charm of Crazy March. This month's NCAA has had a huge influence in the United States. Countless Americans will pay attention to this round of matches, even major NBA teams will closely monitor the trend of the game and explore potential seed newcomers. Crazy March opening, featuring the University of Kentucky with John Wall, Demogus Cousins, Patrick Patterson, and Eric Bradson, Georgetown University, where Greg Monroe is based, under the leadership of Evan Turner, Ohio State University. These top-tier teams have all achieved victories one after another, approaching the quarterfinals. And Fresno State University's first opponent in Crazy March is the University of Kansas. The University of Kansas has two great generals, Tristan Thompson and Avery Bradley. After determining the first opponent, the coaching staff of Fresno University began intensive targeted training. The coaching staff at Fresno State University collected a lot of intelligence about their opponents Kansas. Based on this intelligence, tactical tactics have been formulated. Jiang Heng also made it to Fresno State University's player roster as he wished. However, in the first game, Henkels did not let Jiang Heng start, but arranged for him to play later. Although I am very optimistic about Jiang Heng, the coach is still very cautious when it comes to the first game. Jiang Heng has no objection to this, as long as he can enter the team's roster and complete the task, he will be satisfied. At this point, the system finally sounded a prompt. Congratulations to the host for successfully joining the Fresno State University basketball team mission. The fusion progress of the physical fitness of the mythical figures of the heavenly kingdom and the giant spirit god has reached 100%. As the integration progress reaches 100%, a powerful energy flows upstream of Jiang Heng's body, constantly transforming his physical fitness. Although Jiang Heng had already integrated 90% of the physical fitness of mythological giant spirits before, achieving 100% change is still very significant. This represents that Jiang Heng has completely acquired the invincible physical fitness of a bug-like giant spirit god. After a brief fusion, Jiang Heng moved his hands and feet, feeling as if a raging beast was living inside. The current Jiang Heng is one level stronger than before. Jiang Heng clenched his fist and his whole body surged with strength. He feels that the extent of his improvement is definitely not as simple as going from 90% to 100%. If Jiang Heng were to undergo another physical test now, his test data would definitely be filled with extraordinary results, even more exaggerated than the previous one. Jiang Heng exerted all his strength, and his steel-like muscles bulged throughout his body. Make Jiang Heng, who is already 2.16 meters tall, look like a real humanoid ferocious beast. But as long as Jiang Heng relaxes, his thick muscles will shrink by a circle. On the surface, his streamlined figure is more aesthetically pleasing. Jiang Heng is very satisfied with this. Although his muscles were swollen all over, He was indeed very brutal and imposing, and his opponents on the field were full of pressure just by looking at him. But usually, Jiang Heng still prefers to be low-key. At least he felt that his usual appearance was more attractive to his younger sister. Feeling his current body in peace, Jiang Heng muttered to himself, "I feel like I'm going to smash the rebounds like last time, it's even simpler." Now Jiang Heng has a feeling of wanting to burst out, he can't wait to test his strength on the field. Crazy March will become the first step of Jiang Hengqing's divine staircase. On March 18, the NCAA Fresno State University's first match against the University of Kansas officially began. In this game, the outside world's attention is focused on Tristan Thompson and Avery Bradley. On the side of Fresno State University, only Paul George received everyone's attention. As for Jiang Heng, who was added to the list, he did not attract anyone's attention. As a newcomer, no one had ever known about Jiang Heng before, let alone the name of a Chinese player, which made a small number of people who noticed him subconsciously think he was a Chinese student just making up the numbers. Fresno State University, go ahead. Get rid of Kansas for me. Defeating the University of Kansas, the glory of victory belongs to Fresno. Kansas will knock down Fresno hard. I swear. Let.us.go Kansas. Let.us.go Kansas. Before the game began, fans from both universities had already started to compete with each other through cheers. The audience of NCAA is all families and young people, which is a bit more pure than a business league like NBA. This time, the commentator is ESPN's gold medal duo, Mike Bryn and Amy John. Today's two teams are considered above average in the NCAA, I don't know who will win today's game. The cruel single search competition system means that the team that loses the first battle today can go straight home to fish. No matter who, they won't want to roll back after just playing one game. Amy John smiled and said, "The inner and outer duo of Tristan Thompson and Avery Bradley at the University of Kansas, I think, are much more reasonable and powerful than Paul George from Fresno alone." The Fresno fans present burst into boos in an instant. Although they only have Paul George as a star player, they believe that Fresno University is not afraid of the Thompson-Bradley duo from the University of Kansas. Paul George was able to average 16.8 points, 7.2 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2.2 steals per game in the NCAA, and was selected for the Western Conference's Best Team second team. These honors have already made Paul George somewhat famous in the NCAA. Amid boos, Amy John also looked a bit embarrassed. Mike Bryn quickly helped and said, "Paul George's strength is beyond doubt, he is the lottery show in multiple draft predictions. But what we need to pay special attention to is that Tristan and Avery from the University of Kansas are also draft picks. Especially Tristan Thompson, who has been ranked in the top 5 rookies, Fresno's inside line may not be able to stop this guy." Although Mike Bryn is not very optimistic about Fresno State University, his statement is well-founded. Even some fans of Fresno University couldn't help but agree with Bryn's statement. Now Thompson, a freshman, has shown the ability to surpass the NCAA center by a significant margin. P.S. The sixth one has arrived, and the supernatural beast has broken through its cage. Kneeling for flowers, evaluating tickets, and giving rewards, thank you all. 2,000 flowers plus updates, 300 evaluation votes plus updates. What I want is to make them afraid of me. 7. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. With the level of expertise within Fresno State University, Thompson's performance cannot be stopped. Amy John continued, "Not only that, but both Tristan and Avery are the best defensive players in the division of the Big 12 League. Their combination can withstand very high defensive intensity." Under the introduction of Amy John, the cheers from the fans of Fresno State University were also slightly reduced. The momentum was suddenly overwhelmed by the University of Kansas. Players come on stage, and Fresno State University's lineup includes Paul George, Ansay Robert, Diane Jackson, Vitus Vincent, and Sean McGregor. Kansas University lineup. Avery Bradley, Durrett White, Blake Woody, Andrea Ulysses, Tristan Thompson. Jiang Heng sat on the bench, and Coach Henkels patted his shoulder, comforting him. The debut of core weapons needs to be put at a critical moment. Jiang Heng smiled confidently and said, "Don't worry, Coach. I understand what you mean." The whistle blew and the two teams began to jump ball. Tristan Thompson and Sean Majory jump ball. Majeri, a spatial center, was jumped half of his head by Thompson and kicked the ball away directly from his head. Bradley controls the ball, quickly enters the interior, makes a flexible turn and layup, and takes the next city first. Bradley and Thompson, two future NBA players, have shown differences from other NCAA players. Fresno's defensive strength completely cannot limit Bradley's attack. Bradley quickly broke away from Witz Vincent and assisted Thompson in dunking the inside line like a fish in water. 2-0, woohoo. The beginning is an aerial relay. Smooth coordination from Kansas Twin. Both commentators cheered on Bradley's ball, which was a crisp coordination. TT's dunk reminded them of the NBA games they usually play as commentators. This ball definitely has the charm of the NBA. Looking back, Paul George picked up the big beam, opened and closed wide, and rushed into the interior line, making a quick stop and 2 runs. 2-2 Paul George's precise 2 points helped Fresno regain some face. After regaining the score, George raised his hands high, causing the fans of Fresno to cheer, and the entire stadium seemed to return to a pure and passionate competitive atmosphere. Switching to a fast attack, Bradley accelerated directly and broke through Vincent's defense to break into the interior. Bradley threw the ball high and Thompson, like a whale out of water, dunked the ball into the basket with one hand. The coordination between the two was very good, and this free pass caused the whole room to erupt in deafening cheers. Mike Bryn from the commentary booth was also surprised. It's the collaboration of the two again, and the Kansas duo seems unstoppable on the inside. If you want to cut points, just cut them. The twin-star combination in Kansas is giving Fresno University a headache. Amy John continued. The combination of Bradley and Thompson truly achieved a score of 1+1-2, and on Fresno's side, Paul George alone cannot maintain the score gap. After the first half, Fresno State University was trailing Kansas University by 12 points 38.50. The attack time for each round of the college league is 35 seconds, and the entire game lasts for 40 minutes, with continuous serving. So, being 12 points behind at halftime is definitely a big difference in points. There's not much chance of a comeback. Damn it, Kansas is slaughtering Fresno's players. Disappointed, I thought Fresno could advance to the semi-finals this year, but I didn't expect to be eliminated in the first game. Thanks to our whole family coming to support Fresno, they ended up playing a game with a huge difference in points for us. Fresno fans are all disappointed with such a huge difference in points. During halftime, Meggie collapsed and covered his head. Sorry, everyone. That Tristan Thompson is like a beast, he's a talent at the NBA level. Majeri, who was in opposition to Thompson, was completely crushed. If it weren't for being crushed by Jiang Heng once before and gaining some acceptance, he would have completely collapsed. The other teammates also looked confused, not knowing how to win the game. Heavy nuclear weapons, it's time to make their debut. Coach Hendricks's eyes sharpened and he said to Jiang Heng, "Jiang, it's time for all NCAA people to know you." Henkels placed all the remaining hope of this game on Jiang Heng. Making them know me is not my goal. Jiang Heng smiled slightly, pulled off his coat and stood up from the bench. What I want is to make them fear me. Jiang Heng's words stunned Henkels, but soon a faint smile appeared. It has to be said that he likes Jiang Heng's confident personality. Remember to keep an eye on Bradley's breakthrough, cut off the connection between him and Thompson. As long as we mute both of them, we have hope of getting back to the top of the score, Henkels warned. Understood. At this moment, the The sound of the system rang out in Jiang Heng's heart. Detected that the host is about to play, triggering a side quest. Create a half-court myth for NCAA, score points in the comeback game, and win the first game after a successful mission. You will receive a reward for side quests. The second half of the game began, and the two teams walked onto the field. Everyone was surprised to find that a young Asian player had been replaced at Fresno State University. The two commentators were surprised to find Jiang Heng's information. Jiang Heng. A player from China, this is his first time playing. What is Fresno University thinking? They actually let a newcomer embark on a crazy march competition. Even the original center Sean couldn't defend Thompson. If we replace him with a new player from China, wouldn't we want Thompson to score high? They all had a very poor understanding of Fresno's replacement this time. In their view, continuing to use experienced Medjugorje, although unable to defend Thompson, can at least make some contribution to the team. But if we switch to Jiang Heng, it's very likely that we won't even have this contribution. Fresno's fans also exclaimed in surprise. Look at how tall that newcomer from the Heavenly Dynasty is, much taller than Tristan. What's the use of being tall? Do you think any tall yellow man is Yao? A rookie newcomer, do you still want to expect him to win the score? I think Fresno wanted to surrender early, but he didn't want to be too direct, so he switched to a new center forward. No one was optimistic about Jiang Heng in the whole game. Although he was big, he had no record of playing in a formal game, which made it difficult for people to trust him. Opposing Thompson looked coldly at Jiang Heng walking up and said, "Is Fresno University surrendering now?" Jiang Heng looked straight into Thompson's eyes, not angry but smiling. "Sorry, I came to win. P.S. It's the 7th day of the first day. Supernatural beast. Break out of the cage. Kneeling for flowers, evaluating tickets, and giving rewards, thank you all. On the first day, 2,000 flowers will be added for updates, and 300 review tickets will be added for updates. The evaluation vote is even worse, first seek the evaluation vote, and then seek the flowers. Am I special? Did I get hit by a train? 8. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Thompson sneered as he shook his hand and pointed. Rookie, with your strength, you don't deserve to be so arrogant. Judging from his appearance, he didn't even pay attention to Jiang Heng. Even though Jiang Heng's body may seem larger, Thompson is not without a higher internal line in alignment. Thompson has more than just physical talent, and his rough interior skills are already sufficient for NCAA. And Jiang Heng just looked at Thompson with pitiful eyes and smiled. Warm warning, remember to protect yourself later. Thompson was completely confused. What does this newcomer mean? Can't he understand what I'm saying? How come you still remind me to protect myself? At this point, Jiang Heng had already run towards the front court, and Thompson could only return to defense with a question mark. The first attack in the second half was initiated by Fresno. George quickly changed direction on the outside line, found a defensive gap, and then pulled up and threw. At the same time, Thompson immediately stood in a favorable position on the inside, ready to compete for rebounds. He smiled inwardly and said, "The newcomer is indeed a newcomer. He hasn't even learned the basics of card placement and rebounding well." Standing in this position, Jiang Heng can only stand behind him, and Thompson is confident in taking this rebound. George's shot was indeed a bit wide, he hit a shot on the basket and it fell out. Thompson held on to Jiang Heng behind him, jumped directly, and grabbed the rebound with both hands. ESPN's commentary on the high channel. Under the basket was occupied by Tristan alone. It looks like the University of Kansas is going to take this defensive rebound. Tristan's positioning is very beautiful, completely isolating the positions of Jiang and the rebounds. It seems that this newcomer from the Heavenly Dynasty still has a lot to learn. Mike Bryn was explaining meaningfully that the situation on the field suddenly changed. Who, behind Thompson, who jumped to the top, came a tremendous force that almost caused him to lose balance in the air. Later, he only saw the rebound above his head being grabbed by a pair of big hands, and Xing snatched the rebound from his head. After Thompson landed, he saw Jiang Heng holding the ball. The commentary booth on the sidelines clearly captured the scene just now. OMG! What did I see? That rookie from the sky jumped out of almost a floor high and grabbed a rebound from behind Tristan. I seem to have seen a fierce beast jump up high just now. This scene is so stunning. This newcomer is not easy. He seems to have excellent physical talent. The Fresno fans who had just fallen into disappointment all had bright eyes. Picking the rebound from Thompson's head was something that Fresno's inner line couldn't do before. Thompson also realized something and looked seriously at Jiang Heng holding the ball. It's just luck, don't try to score in front of me. Thompson released his own trash talk. Being snatched a rebound from above by a newcomer made him feel a bit embarrassed. However, that's all for now. He will do his best to defend this ball and make up for the embarrassment just now. Thompson closely watched Jiang Heng's move, using a hot pot hat to educate him as a newcomer to the NCAA. Jiang Heng stood behind Thompson, and now Thompson has turned around. Only by finding a way to cross Thompson can he score. Perhaps it's not easy for someone else to score in front of Thompson. But this is Jiang Heng with the system of the giant spirit god. He grabbed the ball with both hands and flew straight towards the basket behind Thompson. The first score of NCAA's debut. Of course it's the buckle of a heavy bomb. Thompson paused for a moment, then angrily jumped up. This newcomer, surprisingly ignoring his own defense, wants to directly block him. Pang! Two people collided in the air, making a huge collision sound. The sound of confrontation made the audience in the front volleyball hall shudder. But everyone didn't pay attention to these because they were shocked by the picture they saw next. Jiang Heng, who flew over with the ball, unexpectedly knocked Thompson out. A 2.06-meter-long person in Thompson Hall flew out like a fragile piece of paper. Jiang Heng was not affected at all and flew to the basket with both hands bending their bows and dunking. Bang sung. The brutal force caused the entire basketball rack to shake violently a few times. The whole stadium fell silent for a few seconds, and then the cheers of Fresno's fans almost overturned the top cover of the stadium. Woo-woo, oh my god. This is the most brutal dunk I've ever seen. Unbelievable. Is he really a Chinese player? How does this ball remind me of the peak Shaquille? Where did Fresno University find this newcomer? His physical talent is simply amazing. Jiang Heng, remember this name, he will definitely become an amazing insider in the future. A brutal deduction turned many fans of Fresno State University into fans of Jiang Heng. Thompson, who was knocked off the plane, stood up in a state of embarrassment, his entire brain blank. Stumbling up, finally standing firm, almost falling again. I shook my head hard before waking up from the violent impact just now. Thompson looked at Jiang Heng under the basket with a hint of fear. This tall guy actually knocked him away. Damn it. How could this guy's power be so terrifying? I was afraid I was hit by the locomotive just now, right? Thompson would rather believe that he was hit by a train than that the monster-like power came from a newcomer. If his body were a bit fragile, he had already been hit and fractured by Jiang Heng just now. God, did you see Tristan's expression? Commentators Mike Brin and Amy John suddenly widened their eyes and struggled to speak. Just this ball, Jiang Heng made everyone in NCAA remember him. The power displayed by Jiang is at a level I have never seen before. Where did he come from? And the instant jumping ability, Jiang's demonstrated athletic ability, are all incredibly powerful. The most important thing is that he is still a super tall man of 2.16 meters, coupled with such terrifying bouncing and strength. It is simply a perfect imagination for a center forward. Watching the replay of the ball just above my head. Even the second time they saw it, everyone still felt difficulty breathing. On the field, Jiang Heng said to Thompson, who was a bit dazed. "I reminded you before, don't blame me if you get hurt." Thompson, who was frozen in place, finally understood why Jiang Heng had kindly reminded him. If he doesn't pay attention to this kind of explosion and strength, there is really a possibility that he will be ruined. Fortunately, he just mocked Jiang Heng. Now, upon closer inspection of this guy, there are explosive muscles hidden under the jersey. Thompson's expression fell into silence. Although Kansas is still leading by 10 points, the whole game forgot about the score difference due to Jiang Heng's goal, and the atmosphere on the field seemed like Fresno was leading. After Jiang Heng came on the field, Fresno showed hope for a comeback. P.S. It's the 8th of the first day. Supernatural beast. Break out of the cage. Kneeling for flowers, evaluating tickets, and giving rewards, thank you all. On the first day, 2,000 flowers will be added for updates, and 300 review tickets will be added for updates. The evaluation vote is even worse. First seek the evaluation vote, and then seek the flowers. God, what did I see? Backing someone to make up for the deduction. What's more violent than this? Fresno surprisingly found such a monster insider this year. In the first half, TT was unstoppable, harmless to humans and animals like a child in front of the river. The audience watched the replay in shock. The ball was too impactful. In their eyes, TT, who was already considered a top-tier insider, surprisingly had no fighting ability and even paid for a foul and free throw. In Crazy March, no insider can play like this. With his brutal playing style and the power of maneuvering, Jiang Heng has already captured the hearts of a large number of spectators in just a short while of playing. After Jiang Heng scored this goal, the score came to 42.50, and Fresno University caught up with an 8-point difference. The original 12-point gap looked huge, but in the blink of an eye, it shortened to 8 points when Jiang Heng came on the field. The coaching staff at the University of Kansas gradually began to feel the pressure, and with the addition of Jiang Heng, their key players couldn't quickly take the game away like they did in the first half. On the field, Paul George excitedly rushed up to Jiang Heng and slapped him. "Brother. Completing a 2+1 back dunk is too scary. How did you do it? Isn't this simple?" Jiang Heng shrugged and said calmly. "You just need to jump up and put the ball in the basket, that's enough." Jiang Heng spoke lightly, as if nothing had happened. For him, he has a 100% talent fusion of the spirit god. Dunk with TT on your back, it's that simple. And George couldn't help but be stunned for a moment, feeling extremely impressed by Jiang Heng. What does it mean to jump up and just put the ball in? It's so simple to say, but who else can do it besides you? George is willing to give Jiang Heng a perfect score for pretending to be coerced, and Jiang Heng has finished pretending to be coerced throughout the entire league. "Jiang, compared to your playing skills, I suddenly want to learn more about your ability to pretend." Paul George chuckled. If he also has half of Jiang Heng's ability to pretend, George believes that his fans will definitely double. After all, nowadays fans prefer players with personality, and those who play according to rules and regulations do not have much support from fans. Jiang Heng smiled and joked, "Paul, if you share your quirky hobbies, I believe even without pretending, you will still receive a lot of attention." After achieving explosive performance, Jiang Heng was in a good mood and also made fun of George. P.S. It's the 9th of the first day. Supernatural beast. Break out of the cage. Kneeling for flowers, evaluating tickets, and giving rewards, thank you all. On the first day, 2,000 flowers will be added for updates, and 300 review tickets will be added for updates. Your Backpack is a song that everyone should have heard of, right?